Somebody has to assert and hold, and somebody has to flow into that space that's being held. So that's number one. Polarity is key. And so here's where that falls apart sometimes outside of work environments and what we take from work.
Welcome to the Ignited Recovery Podcast, a new way forward for anyone looking for answers but feeling left out. If you've been searching for empowerment, triumph, and purpose, you've found them right here. You won't hear the same solutions, and you're not going to have any excuses to fall back on, because Ignited Recovery allows heroes to rise and become their best selves. I'm Dr. Sophie Jaffe, and I can't wait to be your guide on this journey. Are you ready to become an ignited hero?
Hey everybody, it's Adi again, and I want to share with you something that I believe is one of the most useful free tools I've ever created for my clients and for you. It's our free, personalized My Drinking Score report. Look, you already know that at Ignited, we don't care much for labels, and we don't believe in any of those once a blah, 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 always a blah, blah, blah slogan. But if you are questioning your specific relationship with alcohol, you may be trying to figure out how to understand what you need to do and whether you're moving in the right direction. Well, then this completely free tool is for you and will give you the answers you're looking for. All you're going to do is you're going to take a 5-minute quiz answering simple questions that you know the answers to. And then, like magic, our system is going to spit out a custom report so that you can find out more about your relationship with alcohol and actually get guidance and help to some of the changes that you can individually make. I created this tool to give you a customized, personalized virtual resource that you can take at any time, and that makes it easy to get the exact recommendations and steps that you need to help eliminate your struggles. Anybody can take it, and did I mention that it's completely 100% free? Well, it is. So stop running around in circles trying to figure out why you're having a hard time getting sober, and get real solutions and guidance to help transform your life and get ignited forever. Just pause this audio right now and go to ignited.com/go. Again, that's ignited.com/go and take our 5-minute quiz right now. Find out what your drinking score is and then share it and tag us on Instagram or Facebook, because remember, fuck shame. Together, we get to move forward and get better every day.
But we all have balances of masculine and feminine, right? 60, 70 years ago, I couldn't even have this discussion, right? Because men will be like, I don't have any, there's nothing feminine about me whatsoever. But obviously there is, right? I mean, I've got kids, I got 2 boys. There's definitely and by feminine, I just mean a more like emotional, ephemeral, right, artistic, more kind of buoyant part to them that is less rigid and logical. And so we all have this interplay within us. And so regardless if the man is more in the feminine or masculine place, or the woman is more in a feminine or masculine place, or if it's a same gendered relationship, no matter what that is, you'll find over and over and over in relationships, somebody takes on the more masculine and somebody takes on the more feminine role. Always. I mean, it's like, why in queer culture there's like bottoms and tops, and like that's what we're saying, and that's different terms for the same thing I'm talking about. Is somebody has to assert and hold, and somebody has to flow into that space that's being held. So that's number one. Polarity is key. And so here's where that falls apart sometimes outside of work environments and what we take from work. A lot of times when somebody is struggling, like we've talked about so many times in these groups, one person has to become the caretaker in a way. Oh, this got, these 15 things on the checklist didn't get done. The kids have to get picked up. Somebody's got to make dinner. Like, all of a sudden there's this workload. So even though it's not coming from employment, it's somebody having to step up and get things done. And get things done falls more in the masculine column of things, right? Which is ironic because most homemakers or mothers or housewives get a lot of shit done. So we're talking about as being in the masculine, not because it's about men, but it's just like, it's that role. It's that place in your head where you're going, I got to get stuff done. I got to get the list checked off. I got to, deposit the money in the bank. I got to go to the store. And in that place, there's not a lot of juiciness. There's not a lot of relaxation, into just being. And while I think it's really important to work on our problems and make them better, I think it's also really important to pay attention to the environment and the context that we put our relationship in. Because sometimes, and I see this in my relationship with my wife, I see it in dozens of relationships with people that we work with, somebody has to let go. Somebody almost has to let go of that responsibility and allow themselves to flow into that space, which could be really hard because masculine doesn't want to give up that much. Even for women, if you're in a responsible role, like my wife, I remember this is the first conversation that comes to mind as I'm thinking of this. It had to do with travel. When we just came back from travel, this was about 2 years ago. Every time I would travel for work, Sophie and I would fight when I would come back, every single time. But the irony was we would be so excited at the buildup of me coming back. And it's like the moment I came back into the house, it was a fight. And we couldn't figure out what it was. And so we ended up talking to our therapist.
What's up, everybody? So glad that you've tuned in here today. You know, we bring you these recovery episodes to help anyone who's struggling with addiction or habits that don't serve them break free of the cycle using the latest research and the most effective strategies that I've found over my years of doing this and thousands of people I've helped. Obviously, we offer this free resource to you because I know that getting help is hard and I want to make it as easy as possible. So even if you never join our online hero program or come to our retreats or come and work with me individually, I want you to at least have access to the same powerful tools that have changed thousands of lives. If you like this and think it's useful, please give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or just wherever you're listening to this right now. It really helps get the word out about this free resource, which is important since my goal is to help over 1 million people. So thanks a lot for being part of the Ignited community. Now let's get you back to the help.
What turned out was whenever Sophie went away, because she takes care of so much around the house, she would create these itineraries and get babysitters to come and feed the kids and pick them up, and her parents to come play and friends to come over. And she would literally, I mean, if she was gone for 3 days, it would be a 3-day itinerary with 15 bullet points on each one of them. And when I left, I was like, hey, see you in 4 days. I'm going away for work. Most of the time I would talk to them once or twice while I was gone a day. So when I would come back, Sophie's fully in her masculine, right? She's taking care of the house. She's got the kids. She's here alone. And when I would go, she would have to step fully into that place and take over, and whatever amount of help I normally give would be gone. But when she would leave, she would feel like she didn't even get to let go because she was still holding on to that responsibility. So part of what she didn't give it that language, but what was happening was she was living in masculine all the time. And even when she was trying to get away, she couldn't get away. And there was a lot of resentment that built up around that. A lot of resentment, because the idea was, hey, why don't you do as much when you leave as I do? I take care of everything. So in her head, what she wanted was for me to take care of them as much when I left as she does. But weirdly, the agreement, so that was right, the masculine asking for what they want. Hey, you should do this, right? You like being very rigid. Weirdly, what ended up happening with our therapist is the exact flip was the agreement we came upon, which was, hey, when you leave, Sophie, why don't you just let it go? Why don't you not prepare an itinerary? Why don't you let a D, when he leaves, you take care of everything. When you leave, why don't you let him do it? And in a way, it allowed her conceptually to let go in a way she never can at home, right? Mothers, I don't know, you guys, you can't. It's like in your DNA, it's just, when push comes to shove, a mom is going to step in and take care of what needs to be taken care of. I don't know that men have the same genetic makeup. I just don't. But she couldn't even let go like that when she was gone. So she was stuck in this masculine mindset and couldn't let it go. She agreed to the agreement, which said, okay, when I leave, Adi, you take care of it. It took her 4 vacations before she could actually fully let go, because at each one she was able to release a little bit. But I remember the first moment she went away and said, oh my God, I was gone for 4 days. And during those 4 days, I knew you were going to take care of things. I knew I didn't need to check in. I knew I could just relax. And it was the first time she said since our second born, almost 10 years, it was 9 years at the time, that she was actually, no, I guess 7 or 8 years, that she was able to fully let go from those responsibilities, right? So in a way, back to polarity, she was able to be in her flow, do whatever she felt like doing instead of feeling like she was responsible.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ignited Heroes Recovery Podcast. I really hope you found the information here useful and that we'll see you back here next week. And look, I want to make sure that this podcast is the most useful it can be for you, so please let me know by emailing info@ignited.com if there are any specific topics or questions you'd like to have addressed. As usual, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review and rating. Thanks, and see you next week.